Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of our Twitter Spaces. My name is Victor, I will be your host today, and we have a very special guest. We have VeChain and their CEO, Sunny. Just give me one sec to prepare everything. Sunny, I see that you have connected. Can you unmute your mic and confirm that all is good?
Yes, this is Sunny speaking. I'm very glad to be here.
Likewise. Um, okay, thank you for confirming. Let me just check. I think we're all good and we can start. Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Victor again. We will have the same structure as always for this Twitter space. If you have any questions for our guest, Sunny, just leave them as comments to this Twitter space. You see the purple button in the right hand side of your phone. Just press that, leave it as a message, as a tweet, and someone from the team will make sure to browse all tweets and choose the most interesting questions. That being said, Sunny, welcome. Thank you for joining. How's your day?
It was very great, actually. Just arrived in San Francisco last night, and it's pretty early morning, but I already see the sunlight coming up.
Nice. Where did you come from?
I was in Milan, so I basically
Milan.
live in
Nice.
Milan, but still I traveling around the world, most likely Europe and US, sometimes Asia as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it was hot in Milan as well, I guess.
It was a quite good weather actually.
Really?
Summer is coming. You know, the European summer, like everybody just chill up and go out and
Yeah, I know
sunlight.
that. I'm based in Romania, and here like August is a dead month. I mean the streets are empty.
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah,
Institutions don't work. You can't find people, companies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not only August, but also July, August.
Uh-huh.
So I'm moving to US for the next 2 months. I still keep walking.
Yeah. Yeah, US never sleeps. Europe likes to take it chill and take their time.
Life work balance, huh?
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, general stuff, what you want to share. What's your background? What did you do before crypto? For how long are you in crypto? Your
Sure.
craziest crypto story.
Oh
Let's.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the crypto is a really, like you said, a crazy, crazy word. I have been in the crypto space since 2012 and 13, so it's more than 10 years now.
Mhm.
And also VeChain, is a project people called like dinosaur project in the crypto space,
Yeah,
starting from
it is actually
yeah,
for crypto.
yeah, starting from 2015 and launched the ICO 2017, and running the blockchain until now. So before I create the VeChain, I was working Louis Vuitton. It's a
Hmm.
French company. I know most of people knows about that, especially ladies get exciting about just hearing the name. And when I was in Louis Vuitton, I was working as chief information officer
Hmm.
to oversee the China, not only the China, but also like China mainland, Taiwan, Macau. Even I manage a small team in Singapore. So I took my chance, when I was in Louis Vuitton and traveling around the world. And also it's also the pretty early days in the crypto side as well. And I took the opportunity when I traveling around and I attend the different Bitcoin meetups or blockchain meetups and everywhere. And in 2015, I decided like, okay, that could be my chance, to go all in the crypto side, because after a few years study and learning, and I believe this is a revolutionary technology is going to change the world again, just like internet did. So I feel like, and also the very interesting observation is early days in the crypto side, there were so many technical geeks and
Hmm.
very few people, let's say, understanding business. and people quite exciting talk about all of the technologies, but very few people talk about the use cases. So I feel like, well, that's my opportunity, and I can contribute that because as a CIO, basically the job is to bridging the technology and the business, try to figure out what kind of the solution, what kind of the technology could be benefit to business, or any business challenge requires any kind of the technical solutions. So that was my job. So I feel
Hmm.
like that's my chance, and I quit my job. Even my parents were like quite a pissed off.
Parents always are.
Yeah, but the good thing is they
They
still.
want their kids to be doctors and lawyers and have stable
Oh yeah,
jobs, and
they
yeah.
want a stable, life, and they couldn't understand. They were like, why are you leaving such good job, and quite a fancy job, and to do something nobody understand that. But yeah, but I love blockchain. I feel the passion about it. I believe
Hmm.
blockchain can really change the world. It can make lots of the different breaking through benefits or results for the whole world. So yeah, that's how I get started.
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting story. Yeah, crypto people know Louis Vuitton for sure. Yeah, and Lamborghinis and yeah, and stuff like that. People love to be flashy in
Yeah.
this
Well,
in
you know
this.
what? Actually, I want to share another story about that.
Please.
When I was in, for let's say for all of the luxury company, there is a philosophy, or let's say business model. They call it chasing after the new money.
Mm,
So when the internet comes, they start to chase after those internet people, or let's say people get the wealth coming from the internet booming. And recently, like in the last few years, actually more and more luxury brands are chasing after the crypto people as a new clients. I got a lot of advisory inquiries from my old colleagues, like, okay, how do we onboard those crypto people to be our clients?
accept payments with crypto for a starter, but
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
they
yeah,
already do that,
yeah.
isn't
But
it?
I already told them like, forget about it. We all wear their T-shirts, with the company logo about it.
Yeah, yeah. So you were still traveling a lot in your old job.
Yes.
Uh,
Well, Web3 has no boundaries
yeah.
in terms of geographical location or even time zones or nationalities. As a matter of fact, actually, VeChain running quite a global operation. We
Mm-hmm.
have quite a big technical center office in Ireland, Dublin, and also we have people from Italy, Spain, Egypt, Singapore, US. So it's basically like everywhere. And our headquarter right now is in San Marino. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
small country in the middle of the Italy, but we do have office everywhere, and we do attend the different type of the crypto events, working very hard to, let's say, spread the words about what we're doing, try to acquire more users, more projects to join us. So yeah, we have to travel around the world.
Yeah. Okay. Let's dive a bit into WeChain, and maybe you can tell us what this dinosaur is, and how is it special, this project VeChain,
Mhm.
and given the fact that it's alive from 2015,
Mhm.
it must have something special.
Yes. Actually, we never changed the course. Let's put this way.
That's
Um,
that's uh, that's another strange story for crypto because people
I know.
pivot all the time.
Yeah. Well, firstly, like you said, crypto has the different topics, different the hot trends, right?
Hmm.
Every 3 or 6 months. But I would consider like it's just a different type of infrastructures or tools or technology development, but eventually we're much to the final destination, which is creating the value for the real world, just like internet did. Internet also has the different type of trends or hypes, like from the .com, from the website, and eventually to the social media, to e-commerce, to search engine, and now it's AI. I think blockchain is going through exactly the same journey as well. So back to VeChain, um, I like to use the three version of white paper as our journey demonstration. I think we're one of the very few, maybe only one, to release the three white papers in the past journey. And I believe we're going to release more with the development and progress of not only VeChain, but also the entire crypto space. So in 2017, before that, we're basically running the different trial exploration, testing different type of solution and use cases. But in 2017, we released the first white paper
Mm-hmm.
to demonstrate what kind of the blockchain technology we want to build, what kind of platform we want to build. And in 2019, we released the second version of white paper, focused on the enterprise adoption to make the blockchain as enterprise level, let's say make VeChain as an enterprise level blockchain platform and start to onboard the different type of enterprise users in the various sectors. And after that, we basically accumulated more than 100 different enterprise level applications, like some high profile case, like a food safety for Walmart, the carbon credits for BYD, sustainability management, recycled material for H&M, ocean cleanup, receipt project. So there are many different type of, let's say, enterprise applications. And then in 2023, well, sure, there was a COVID, injected in the middle, kind of delayed a bit for everyone. But in 2023, we co-author with BCG, Boston Consulting Group, to release the third version, the latest version of white paper we call Web3 for Better, which showing we are specifying the strategy and ongoing, which we also believe, this is a low hanging fruits. This is a very promising sector to realize and also to be beneficiary from the blockchain technology along with the others, in which is the sustainability areas. We can dive deep a little bit later, but in 2023, we released the latest white paper, Web3 for Better. And this year, as the deliverables to the promise, usually the white paper is a promise and then we deliver, right? So early this year, we launched the new ecosystem called V Better DAO, which is a DAO ecosystem to motivate individuals to do better actions or make a better choice from a daily life, and you get rewards. This is a new novel design ecosystem for sustainability global implementations. And actually, we're quite exciting. Just this week, 28th, next week, sorry, 28th of June, we're gonna have a Hive 2 event in San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
and also switch the VBETA DAO into the mainnet. Before we running like 3 or 4 months in a test net. So June 28th, we're going to switch to the mainnet for the full scale up.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about DAOs, because this topic has like a mixed reputation in the field.
Uh-huh.
A lot of projects kind of endorsed this idea and tried to create DAOs. Maybe I don't know how many of them were serious about it, or maybe just went for the hype. But
Yeah.
there was a phase when DAOs were very popular, and
Mhm.
now it's not a lot like that. I mean, people are a bit skeptical about
Mhm.
this governance model.
Mhm.
And if you could tell us if you started from the beginning with this governance model, and
Mhm.
if you had from the beginning a dual token model in mind and implementation, and how does it work for you for your project?
Well, actually, firstly, there are two parts of the story. One is
Mm.
about the dual token model. Actually, when
Mm-hmm.
we designed that back to 2016, 17, we actually is one of the quite interesting experiments for me. You know, when we started, and I honestly nobody knows like how what kind of the blockchain technology or what kind of the configurations could be really useful, practical, especially for enterprise applications. So what I did is I invite 40, 50 different executives from my personal connections. You know, those are
Mm-hmm.
executives coming from the big corporations, just personal friends, and coming over, and we organize 2 days workshop actually. And I even the funny story is when I try to bribe them, to join. Those are quite a big
Let's call it
executive.
incentivize.
Yeah, incentivize. Okay, so actually, at that time in 2016, I paid them zero point 0.5 Bitcoin for each person. Like if
Not,
you join
yeah, not a bad incentive.
for 2 days, I give you zero point 0.5 Bitcoins. Well, at that time, Bitcoin was not that high as today, right? So I got a 40, 50 people coming over, spend 2 days, and I tell them like, I ask them the question like, okay, do you know about a blockchain or Bitcoin? They have no idea. Secondly, I ask them like, okay, if your enterprise, after my explanation about what this blockchain technology can do, I ask her the question like, will your company or your business is willing to try this? And most of the answers were yes. And then ask for barriers, like, okay, what kind of the challenge or possible challenge you might facing? And as one of the very valuable answer or feedback, which is they want a stabilized or predictable cost
Mm.
to try this new technology. While I would say it's kind of conflict to most of the token model in the layer one blockchain technology, which is, you know, you pay the gas fees with usually native token um, as well. So basically, it causes some kind of dilemma when you have more people to use and your native token goes higher, goes
Mhm.
more expensive, and that means
Mm.
you're paying the cost to do the transaction also
Mhm.
going higher, and nobody wants to use it anymore, which is quite a typical challenge right now in most of the blockchain technology. So back to that time, we decided to design this twin token system. One is native token representing the value of the blockchain technology or platform. The other token with not a direct linkage, but some linkage with the native token to pay for the guest, giving most of the users are predictable and relatively low cost. So our philosophy at that time, it was like you can have a free to start, but you will pay for the volume transactions later. So that's how we designed the twin token system. And in terms of the governance of the DAO, actually, um, we started, a lot of the DAO projects in the crypto side, especially in the last few years, and we find out quite a quite a big challenge in the DAO projects. Let's say you can see either there is some like a big dominant player to kind of dominating the voting results, or people don't have, let's say, enough capability or enough expertise to vote for
Mhm.
vast or general, different type of the topics. Let's put this way, you know if you can vote for like a project or even for a proposal for some marketing campaigns, but not everyone has enough capability to be expert in that kind of sectors. Like not everyone is a marketing expert, not everyone is investment professionals, right? So people are basically based on like, okay, what I like to vote.
Yeah.
So especially in this kind of the professional sectors, it sometimes creates quite deviated results as people expected. Even I still believe in the power of decentralization. I believe in the power or the smartness coming or collective intelligence coming from the people, but still sometimes could be deviated from what we expect. So what we try to launch the new DAO is actually giving um, relatively easy results or easy consequences from each proposal, from each application. So what the VBetter DAO is doing is to let everyone vote the
Mm-hmm.
token allocation to each application who is doing the sustainability implementation involving individuals every week. So I think that could make the voting pretty easy. You can test it. You can use the application every week. You see the results. Do you buy in this story or do you not buy in? Do you like it? Do you like the user journey? And also, do you see the results coming from every week's allocation? Is that application really, you know, distributing the token rewards to everyone? Are they holding something? Is so everything is transparent. Everything is, let's say, pretty public, and everybody can access that kind of information very easily. So that means giving every voters enough information to make a judgment. And it's not a fancy judgment. It's not like a rocket science you need to calculate or something. It's pretty easy. It's pretty simple and to link directly to everyone's daily life. Like, do you drink coffee? Do you like, use a recycle mug? Or do you go to your, when you walk around a neighborhood, just pick up the littering from the street, clean up a bit? Or if you go to the supermarket to buy some organic foods or vegetables, those kind of simple things, people can easily to evaluate or assess, make assessment. Okay, is it sustainable? Is it better actions? So I think that's what we're trying to, let's say, explore. And based on the results and the progress coming from the testnet, I think it's pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking now, isn't it a bit? I mean, if you first need to deliver, basically, and
Mm-hmm.
then ask for vote, and
Mm-hmm.
people vote no for an implementation that's already be made and ready, isn't this resourceful wasting somehow? Because you work on something, you implement, you pour resources into it, and then if people decide that it's not worth it, you just have to stop it.
Um, I, I honestly I don't think so.
Mm,
Firstly, we design by week. That means every
mm,
week there is a
okay.
new batch token to be distributed. Yes, what you're describing, it could be that kind of situation. Like, let's say some projects started with a very good marketing, but they kind of run the rock pool, which is quite normal in the crypto side, right? But then we might waste a couple of weeks token. But let's say the entire world, the entire community keep the close eyes on everyone's move, everyone's progress, deliverables. And then, if they don't deliver, they don't get votes, next week or even
Mm,
2 weeks later, which is giving like a self healing in terms
mm-hmm,
of the entire organic community as an ecosystem. So I think it's kind of like we're giving the very strong self healing or self correction functionality to the entire community based on this DAO governance.
mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds very interesting. Yeah, I'm eager to see it live and
Yeah.
see it in action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to go a step backwards a bit,
Mm-hmm.
back to your incentivizing your friends to come and discuss how this blockchain should be structured and how should it work. How Who is using VeChain? How did it go after this initial meeting and discussing ideas, I mean, were people as eager to take the next step and use a product, or they
Mhm.
were just interested in the technology as something, I don't know, cool, but maybe not that practical?
Yeah, well, I would say right now,
Mm-hmm.
the situation is so much better than few years ago. Like when we get started, it was really, really hard. From the beginning, I have to use my personal connection. I have to try to convince
Mm-hmm.
people. Actually, I got that kind of question all the time. Like, how did you accumulate about 100 different type of enterprise users? I would say, oh, it's pretty easy. Go to talk to 1,000. If 1,000 candidates doesn't give you the answer, then talk to another 1,000. So, but I would say the situation now is much better.
Mm-hmm.
Giving, let's say the progress for the entire crypto world, um, especially the recent regulation side, whatever the ETF approval in the United States, and also the MiCA going to be effective very soon from the Europe. So those kind of regulation progress make much easier. People have, especially coming from the professional world, they start to have a different opinion or different understanding about
Mm-hmm.
the crypto side. However, the challenge is still there, because when people don't have enough understanding about this technology, we always saying like the bad things, spreading the word like pretty fast, right? One of my one of my experiences, most of people have that kind of the weird linkage, like, okay, crypto equals FTX
Mm.
equals to SPF, so equals to criminals, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
bad things. We don't want to get in touch with that. But I would say recent regulation change, and especially like I mentioned, MiCA and the ETF, kind of paved the way, changed people's mindset. Like, because eventually this is a technology, it's a
Yeah.
tools, right? You cannot say the tools. Somebody used that tool to make the best stuff. It's the fault of the tools itself. It's not. It's really depends like who has that kind of, who is using that tool to do what kind of the different things. So right now, let's say I feel like more and more easier, and
Mm-hmm.
we have so many different enterprises, even the small startups come to us. But we're still startup, so we have to let's say focus on our strategy. Right now, it's sustainability implementation, or we call better actions or better assets networks, and also aligning with really leveraging with the resource and power expertise coming from our partners. Before we were partnering with PwC, DNV, that kind of a company, and now our number one priority partner is BCG, Boston Consulting Group. So basically, I would consider it's a perfect match. We are knowing about the crypto side, the blockchain side, technology side, while BCG, or the company like BCG, is knowing the industry know-how, and we are able to create a dream team together to go to the market together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But from how I understand it, these partners are more on the consulting side, and uh, in terms of practical implementation
Mhm.
from your partners, from enterprises that use VeChain, what is being used for? What do companies do on the
Oh,
blockchain?
Oh yeah, I mean, in the past few years, like I mentioned, we did have more than 100 enterprise
Mm-hmm.
users. They do different type of things. For example, Walmart, they built up the food safety platform on
Mm-hmm.
VeChain using the blockchain technology to trace and track the food supply chains coming from the, let's say, original supplier or provider until to the supermarket shelf, until like any user can just quickly scan the QR code to understand the whole journey of this food,
Mm-hmm.
including the timing, including the place, to guarantee the quality of the food itself. So according to Walmart's research back to 2019 and 20, they mentioned about after they launch this platform, they are able to reduce the problematic food tracking from 15 or 16 something hours or 20 something hours, I don't remember the number, to 10 seconds. So for them, it's a huge cost saving and
Mm-hmm.
also quite a good guarantee increase or improvement for the consumers. Also aligning the regulation requirement from local government or local authorities. And the other case, for example, um, like a receipt projects, basically we're building up a platform to enable receipt to guarantee the plastic collected from the ocean, the plastic waste collected from the ocean are really, from the ocean, not
Mm-hmm.
like a fake recycled plastic. But when they providing this kind of the plastic to each business users, they can have a proof, they can have a guarantee the efforts coming from each fisherman when they are doing the fishing, but also they can motivate it to collect the plastic waste to really save the ocean. So
How
there are
how is
now
it possible to track that the plastic is from the ocean and not from the store? I mean, yeah, sorry for interrupting, but I'm curious. This is very interesting.
It's actually requires quite a joint efforts. There is, for example, the first the frontier is a fisherman. So usually when fishermen goes to fish go to the sea to do fishing,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they collect the plastic waste, right? And normal action reaction was like, oh, it's a bad luck. I just threw back to the ocean, right? But if they get motivated to say, oh, if you store those plastic, it's as much as valuable if you as like you fish the really fish, real fish. So there are also a post or we call term like a station around the beach side or port when
Mm-hmm.
the fishermen hand over or return those recycle those plastic to the station, they get some proof of let's say what they really collected, and also the station will integrate it together and try to resell to some business users, even like brands, luxury brands. They use a recycle plastic as well, and they usually can show not only you know showing they are using the recycled material, also putting the efforts to save the or preserve the ocean. And also there's an auditor as a role. For example, like a company like DMV, they were auditing the process. They will do the sample check or random check for this kind of situation. So every critical step will be records in the blockchain side. So be able to verify and secure the integrity of the data.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like a simple, like a magic thing to do, to magically like okay, that can be done like this way. It's actually the whole system or whole chain of products or chain of waste, plastic waste, from the ocean until to the end side, to guarantee that.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for the context. It's I mean, from the outside, it looks way simpler than it really is.
Sure,
I
sure.
mean, it's a lot of partners involved. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's something. Okay, Sunny, thank you. I propose now to go to questions from our community. My
Uh-huh.
colleague Dumitru has chosen a few for us. And the
Okay.
first one is from the user with the username JerryFX5,
Uh-huh.
name Mia. The VeChain grants comprises of two types of grants program, which are the marketing and the micro grants. Can
Uh-huh.
you share more details regarding these two grants as well as the criteria needed to access them?
I think we have our ground program is more than that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, just feel free to share what you think is important about the project.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
So we just launched the new Ground 2.0 actually,
Mm-hmm.
and raised up the limits up to 100K, $100,000, um, but with a different type of criteria. And starting from the very small one, like micro grant, like 2K to 100K as a whole project. So basically, the different grant program serves a different purpose. The micro grant usually used to incentivize and also motivate the community members to do the small efforts, or like uh, fractional or segmented efforts. It's not like a big campaign or something, but it could be organize a small event along with our UFC fights.
Mm-hmm.
We call UFC mixers. So basically, before every fight, our community members, in that local area, joining together to sharing what we're doing, giving us the feedback. We call UFC mixers. So the small grant could link to be an organizer to do the organization job, to gathering our community members coming together to interact. Um, and also, the big grants could be a project eventually joining the VBetterDAO ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
to really starting something, building up the we call X2R applications, to run to get listed in the VBetterDAO, to receive the votes, from based on the votes from the community, receive the token, and then incentivize individuals to make a better actions, to make a better choice every day. So the different grants really, serve the different purpose, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
Question is asked. The next one is from the user Troy, username Polymath Troy. How does VeChain energy consumption and carbon footprint compare to other leading blockchains? And what initiatives are in place to further enhance its sustainability?
Oh, that's my favorite question actually, because we are really running a very, very low emission, as the blockchain side. Actually, there was a certified article back to 2 years ago, 2 3 years ago, to showing like how good about our emission side. Let me find the numbers somewhere. Hold on.
If you have them in a tweet or something, I can pin them to this space.
I'm sure there are many, but honestly, it was here. Yeah. So let's say based on the research, actually, our entire carbon emission for the entire blockchain is really, really low. Represents like 0. Hold on, I didn't look at
Yeah,
the
take your
wrong.
time.
Um, yeah, it's not only about the carbon emission itself, but also in terms of like what kind of the application can build on top of that, or what kind of the sustainable value we can create. It's also a very important one. Let me see, MWC. Okay, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm looking through the questions as well
Yeah, sure,
to
sure, sure.
choose.
Oh, here we go. So the carbon footprint for the entire blockchain is 4.46 ton per year, representing, like every transaction in terms of kilowatts, in terms of energy, it's
Mm-hmm.
0.000216. So it's very low. And in terms of electricity, per transaction to similar blockchain platforms, representing like 0.04% comparing with others. So equally to say, It's like when the entire the CO2 emission of the entire VeChain blockchain for 1 year equals to 0 point something percent to mine one Bitcoin, let's say.
Mm,
So it's really like a big jump in terms of the energy efficiency.
hmm. And do you see these numbers go up like really, really, really
I don't think
much
so.
when you grow bigger, like the network grows bigger?
I would say really not that much.
Uh-huh.
Firstly, we're using the different type of technology,
Yeah, uh-huh.
so the consensus is so much different, right? And in terms of the scaling up, even let's say we when we have to upgrade our scalability or capacity, yeah, we might have increase, but not that much. I would say
Mhm.
just maybe 10-20%, that kind of increase. But in terms of the transaction volume, it's going to be exponential increase based on that.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Next question is from the user Charlie and big number. I think he'll recognize his question. What are some of the various projects and initiatives that are being built on the VeChain Tor blockchain, and how are they contributing to the growth of the ecosystem? So, firstly, is VeChain Tor different?
VeChain Soar is our is the name of the blockchain
Yeah.
platform
Okay.
itself.
Okay. Yeah. 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 That's what I wanted to
Yeah,
clarify.
that's actually a very good question, because we are in the middle of the process to evolving from the previous model to be upgraded to a use case or
Mm-hmm.
ecosystem we're building. So let's say we talk about tokenization, right? Like
Yeah.
RWA, tokenization, everything, those kind of concepts. Actually, we start quite a long time ago to really goes to real world adoptions. So, but still, let's say in the past few years, the previous applications, even including the Walmart case or H&M case or BYD case, it's we call it, the stage one blockchain applications, or we call it
Mm-hmm.
database type blockchain applications. So basically, just replace the database by the blockchain for some important sectors along in the middle of the life journey of any products or any targets. So I think it is a great. However, it doesn't reveal the entire potential of the blockchain technology. So right now, with VBetterDAO, with the new initiative we're driving, it will definitely drive quite a good, quite a lot, let's say, increase or jump, exponential jump in terms of the transactions on the VeChain blockchain. So back to the let's say let's take a step back a little bit. Why we wanted to do tokenizations, okay,
Mm-hmm.
among all of the whole world or whole assets, right? When we talk about the real world assets, people are talking about tokenized real estates, tokenized RPCs, tokenized even gold. um, Actually, I summarized the best way to do tokenization, or the best scenario to do tokenization. There were two things, two indicators. One, whatever you try to do, it requiring decentralized efforts.
Okay.
Or like, it could be a fractional efforts from fragmented time and prices. Firstly, feasibility will be much higher if you do that, and the cost is much lower with the marginal effects. So that means it's better to have individual involvement and building with not only financial motivation but also prestige motivation as well. That's the number one. So requiring decentralized efforts. The number two is the collective results will be much, much more valuable. So if you put them together,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's a perfect example, perfect use case to do the tokenization. So As a result, as our answer, we believe, sustainable assets is the most low hanging fruits and the most promising area to do this type of tokenization.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I give an example. We have a small apps, external apps is called Mugshot, um, which incentivize people to go to the coffee shop to take a recycled mug to take a coffee other than using the paper cups, right? Most of the people, even my friends, saying like, "Oh, Sonny, that's nothing." Paper cup. Yes, I know it's a kind of waste. It's not good, but it's too small. But as a result, as a collective result, there are 16 billion paper cups consumed and waste every year in the world. 16 billion. And coming from 6.5 million trees. So if you set up the personal goal saying like, okay, 7 days a week I go to the coffee shop and I wanted to reduce half. If everybody does that, that means as a joint effort, we are all in the big movement to save more than 3 million trees every year. That kind of the value or the impact, the result is very, very impressive. And which is coming from the small fractional efforts from everybody every day. So, Web3 is a perfect answer, and the tokenization is a perfect answer for that because you don't need to hire like a big auditor to following everyone to verify what you do, but you can leverage with AI, IoT, and the blockchain to verify by the smart contracts, incentivized by the tokens, and you can collect those individual efforts in a collective way and a cumulative way. So this is a perfect, I would say, scenario to run the tokenization, to run, the to create a big change, a big impact with the blockchain and the crypto technologies. So that's what we have been focused on right now. To is simply to say we wanted to make VeChain as the platform to tokenize all of the sustainable assets and to create the liquidity for that, and able to really change the sustainability industries, make it more closer and visible, accessible to every individual person. I believe that's really sustainable. What the sustainability area has been missing for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And do you have, I mean, all these examples that you've given, uh, mm, for, I mean, people get incentives for doing, I mean, recycling or stuff like
Mhm.
that. But do you have some initiatives in mind that will do like tree planting, or I don't know how to put it. I mean, not taking waste that's already out there, but growing like the ecosystem, like the natural ecosystem that will make the planet cleaner.
Oh, it could be everywhere. It could be anything.
Uh-huh.
So when we better, after, next week when we launch the mainnet in the V better ecosystem, everybody can build the external application. What you just described, like a plan to earn, recycle to earn, drive to earn, or
Mm-hmm.
anything you can digitalize your better actions or better assets. I give an example. A small project is taking the grants from us and also building the new external application is called SolarWise. It's actually they wanted to build a solar panel in a small village and to benefit not like too many people, but maybe just hundreds of people. That's totally fine. You know, to starting this project, building up the solar panel, and getting the green or renewable energy, sustainable energy
Mm-hmm.
for just a small group of people. That's the beauty of the Web3 because think about that one guy or one small team can do that for 100 people. What about 1,000 people? What about 10,000 people can do
Mm-hmm.
starting from small? You don't
Yeah,
have
but
to rely on a big corporation with a big scale.
mhm.
They will be playing a very important role as well, but it's more like a decentralized effort.
Yeah, my question here, like my the thing that I don't understand here
Uh-huh.
is how is this financially viable? I mean, like a lot of these incentives means tokens that add up to inflationary
Ah,
pressure on the, yeah, maybe you can
well, so
bring
you're talking
some
about
that.
the, yeah, you're talking about the second type of the job or second pillar of this ecosystem is creating the utility of the token
Yeah.
or creating the value of the token. So simply, like I mentioned, the small paper cup can creating 3 million trees saving. How much money we're talking about there? Or let's say to big coffee shop company, whatever like a Starbucks, Pete's, or Costa, how many paper cups they can saving or plastic cups they can saving from operational costs. Those
Hmm.
are those are real money we're talking about. I give you another case for EV driving. EV driving, let's say I just read about the research impact reports from Tesla in 2023. Firstly, last year they put 2 million cars, almost 2 million cars into the market, and every car can save. Average driving is about 10 to 13,000 miles, and it can save about 1.5 or 2 tons CO2 every year comparing to driving the fossil car. And right now in the global market, averagely, the CO2 price is about $50 per ton.
Hmm.
So one car for 1 year is $50. Okay, small amount of money, but how many EVs on the earth, right? If we talk about a 10 million EVs, we're talking about a $500 million already. So those are real value. We wanted to, let's say, monetize it
Hmm.
somehow and then distribute the value back to every token holder. So that's actually one of the key deliverables we're working with BCG to creating
Hmm.
this kind of the utility and the value of either we call valuation or monetization model to eventually to incentivize each effort contributor. I give you another very interesting project I've been talking to and I try to convince them, bring them into the VBeta as well. They actually is one of the deepin project to run a decentralized climate data collector. Okay, so they provide that kind of portable device. Everyone can just spend a couple $100 to get that and put in your yard or put in your field or put in whatever you want, and they can collect the data from your environment, the place you live in, to as let's say to the aggregator, and eventually make a quite a valuable data to be able to benefits for the other things. Think about coffee bean fields in Brazil, and those data could really give a projection to the production of coffee beans, and eventually could be a very good rationale support to the hedge funds in the Wall Street if they treat about the future for coffee beans, right? So those are we call it monetization or valorization model for this type of small decentralized efforts, like in the sustainability areas.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's all. I mean, whenever we get into specifics, it gets that complex and
Oh yeah, yeah,
so complicated.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts. And when do you expect to have this model? I mean, maybe like a sketch or maybe like a prototype of this model, monetization model.
Mhm. It's running now actually.
Oh, okay.
It's a different type of the use case. It's like on the moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly I really like the one of the mentality or one of the, let's say, philosophy from Elon Musk, and actually we're implementing the same thing. Is we wanted to launch our products or technology involvement very quickly, even it's
Mm-hmm.
quick and dirty, but we kind of iterate all the way. So for some of the D apps right now in VBetterDAO, let's say, whatever the Mockshop, Cleanify, Green Card, EVEarn, um, you know, in the last 15 weeks, like 3 4 months, they have been iterating for 3 4 different type of versions. So basically once every month. So I would say it's like a running the parallel, and at the same time, we're basically having a engaged meeting with BCG almost
Mm-hmm.
every week. For example, when I finish this session, I'm going to downtown San Francisco, go to BCG office to have this week's catch up and going to Marcus strategy discussion to let's say to onboard to create that kind of the use case or scenarios to engage. Also, the could be a big corporations, could be a small enterprise, startups even. So yeah, it's running in parallel.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. How big is VeChain's team? I mean,
Um,
operating team, because
right
I
now, it's
guess.
about
Mhm,
not that big actually. Globally, we're talking about 100 people ish,
mhm.
90 to
Okay.
100 people,
Yeah.
quite decentralized everywhere. The biggest team, like I mentioned, is in Dublin.
Mhm, mhm,
But we have 50, 60 engineers in a Dublin technical CTO team.
mhm. Okay. Okay. Let's move to the next question. It's from the user Kersey_F. What are the specific roles and responsibilities of the elected steering committee members, and how do they influence the direction of the VeChain ecosystem?
Well, steering committee actually, firstly, I have to make it very clear. People usually confuse about the concept there. Um, Steering committee is the main job of the steering committee is monitor and supervise decentralization of the blockchain operations, which means, blockchain itself, or we call it the blockchain operation, is 100% decentralized. No one
Mm.
can really make a unconstrained change, or no even small group or entities, including the steering committee members, not able to say, oh, we want to change these settings for blockchain or want to upgrade to that. It will require the consent from the entire community. While steering committee is basically just overseeing and monitoring, let's say the business developments, the strategy ongoing, budget spending, and guarantee the major job, like I said, the guarantee the decentralization operation in terms of blockchain itself.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's clear. The question is answered. Uh, okay, Sunny. Let's take maybe one more audio question.
Sure.
Let me firstly ask if you still have time. How fast should we move?
Yeah, it's 7 a.m. for me, so
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
delay my breakfast for 30 minutes. No problem.
Okay. Let's then take one audio question as well. We usually take 5 questions.
Sure,
My colleague Dimitri sent me 6, but we already covered 2 of them, like
sure.
indirectly, and yeah, maybe it's better to take one audio question. So, to all those who are listening, just raise your hand. I will select one of you to ask a question, Sunny. Okay, let's see. Ozzy. Hello. Please unmute your mic, Ozzy. I hope I'm pronouncing correctly your name.
All right. Thanks for giving the opportunity to ask my question.
Sure.
Sure.
All right. My question is how does VeChain, okay, what is the role of VeChain as the governance technology partner for, uh, wait, sorry. How does VeChain technology address the issue of asymmetric information in the supply chain management?
In terms of supply chain management, that's where we started, actually. That's a good question. Let's say right now, more and more, especially coming from a few decades ago, supply chain becomes more globalized, right? And that means there will be multiple suppliers, multiple different players to join together for one line of product or for one section of the product. So there are lots of the information coming to attach to the product technically. So simply say there will be multiple different systems joining together and to guarantee or to complete the data sets for one business or one product even. So what blockchain really can do is to give free access and also the trust to every players along the life cycle of the product, in the middle of the process of the supply chain, to guarantee all of the data coming from each person is stored and secured and it can be trusted by each players. So basically, it will be a core or essential infrastructure, I would say, especially for supply chain change from the linear supply chain to that kind of the full mesh network or circular supply chain, the model in the future.
Okay,
Hey,
thank you, Sani.
hey.
OC, all good?
All
Question
right,
asked?
thanks.
Okay, thank you for your question. Okay, yeah, that was the last question that we planned to have. And we're entering like the last part of our conversation. And in this part, what I wanted to ask you is what are your plans for the future, near future or midterm? You said that you're having this big launch on 28th, the
Yeah.
We Better DAO. What's next? What's after that? Whatever you feel that's important to share.
um, well, it's yeah, that's a main focus. Like I mentioned, we believe there are two major challenge to the entire sustainability areas. Firstly, is the obvious one is individual feels left out of the game,
Mm-hmm.
or you feel like you have to pay extra to do or to be sustainable. Whatever you're buying, the organic foods or organic products, or you try to apply the green energy in your home, usually you have to pay extra,
Yeah.
which is kind of like doesn't make any sense, right? You're doing good, you're doing big part of your as your part to contribute to make the world a better place. Why you should pay extra? You should get rewards. So we want to change that. So that's the number one problem we want to address. And number two is, in terms of the business model for most of the sustainability areas, when you think about those NGOs, when we think about those sustainable projects, the business model of them are usually, I would call it based on the donation or based on the charity, which is not sustainable itself. So we wanted to use the tokenization and the liquidity building for those projects to eventually achieve, a sustainability implementations. I think it's quite a big opportunity. According to BCG research, by 2030, the entire sustainability economy or sustainability GDP is going to reach $26 trillion of the whole world. And how are we going to achieve that? I would say to make every sustainable projects or sustainable products more profitable based on this kind of tokenization and the liquidity platform is definitely the answer to to eventually achieve this. So that's two focus we're focused on, and our target is eventually to get more than 100 different type of X2N applications and millions of users using that every day. And actually, so far from the testnet result, it's pretty exciting. Actually, we're looking really forward to see this the real scaling up, you know, in the mainnet launch, along with our partners like BCG, like UFC, everybody, to making everyone, you can do better actions, you can make a better choice on the daily life, you get rewards, and eventually the collective value make everyone rich, not only in financial way but also in the spiritual, in the prestige, that kind of way.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Sunny. So I have two blitz questions for the final. So the first one is, what will be the Bitcoin price in 2044?
44.
44, yes.
Oh, I would say it could be, you know, I could say even in millions. Um, I think even in this wave, this cycle, crypto
Uh-huh.
cycle, like by end of 2025, Bitcoin can easily reach to, three milestones for me. I would say, one is a quarter million, like 250K, or
Uh-huh.
half million, or even 1 million. I would not be surprised to see the 1 million per Bitcoin by the end of 2025, even. So
Mm-hmm.
244, I don't know. It could be really imaginary.
Let's
10
get
millions,
creative.
maybe?
10 millions. Okay. And the last question. Where will be VeChain in 2044?
Well, I cannot say that in price, otherwise the SEC will go after me.
Not the price. I mean, like, imagine that you're in 2044, and where do you see this brand, this company, your vision?
Yeah, well, I would say 2024 is a very critical year for us, because that will be a real growth phase for us as we planned. Um, we focus on the sustainability areas. We focus on to get
Mhm.
everybody to be involved. So actually, the target is, let's say, to get to reach in 2024, to reach like 1 million user every week to participate in multiple different external applications, and getting 50, 30 to 50 external applications by 2024. And actually, we do have the target for 2025 is to get 10 to 20 million users on the VBetter DAO to do sustainable actions, to make better actions every week, and also to get more than 100 applications to be doing that, join as a force together.
Okay, wonderful. So in 20 years, we need to have another space and see if we were right and matched
Yeah,
the
yeah,
expectations of 2024.
yeah. To
Uh,
be more direct, I would say by 2025, our target is to 500x the transaction volume on VeChain.
yeah, cool. That's an ambitious target.
Yes.
Uh, Thank you, Sunny, for your time and interesting conversation. It was a pleasure to talk to you and to hear about this wonderful initiative and
Thank you
the
so much.
project. Yeah, see you around. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Enjoy your time in San Francisco, and
Yeah.
have
Thank
a
you,
great day,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you, guys. Take
Yeah,
care.
take
Bye
care. Bye
bye.
bye. To everyone whose questions were answered, don't forget to send your addresses. We'll incentivize you to contribute with more great questions. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Bye bye.